What's going on, you guys? Riley here. Today we've got a fun one. Today we are going to talk about my 2022 Dodge Charger Scat Pack Widebody that I just recently purchased, and I've got about 1,500 miles on or so. So I've had enough time to kind of figure out some things that I like, figure out some things I don't like, and just wanted to go ahead and show off the car. For those that follow me on Instagram, I've posted a few photos and a couple videos there, but I haven't announced it on YouTube yet. So hi YouTube, I'm back. So for those that have been around the channel for a while, you may know that I've actually had one of these before. It wasn't a wide body, but I did have a plum crazy purple Scat Pack Charger way back in the day. That's kind of what really kicked off my YouTube channel, was filming that car, making videos with it, and that was really where it all started for the most part. And it's kind of funny that here we are 6 or 7 years later, we're back basically doing the same thing. But of course, there's been many things that have happened in between that car and this car. I've also had a Hellcat Challenger, so I've had this car's essentially bigger brother with more power, and I'm sure I'll get the question a lot, why didn't you buy a Hellcat? So I'll get into that as well. But here is the car. It is a F8 green Charger Scat Pack Widebody, like I said. F8 green has always been one of my favorite colors ever since they brought it out. Green is actually my favorite color, so kind of fitting there. But the cool thing about these wide bodies is that they just look so mean, so aggressive. They have the, of course, wider fender flares, the larger brakes, larger wheels, wider tires. I mean, it's just a very cool package that you can get on these Chargers. And as you can tell, I've done a couple things to it already. So the hood, I got that wrapped in satin black, just like I did on my last Charger, because I think it looks the best. Also, the roof up there is also wrapped in satin black. Moving over to the side, I've put some LED side markers from Diode Dynamics, so those look real nice driving down the road at night. Of course, window tint, all your basic little things, all the quote-unquote RP mods. We debadged the Dodge there on the back taillight, so that is no longer there. And then the taillights have been tinted with the Luxe Auto Concepts taillight tint, which again, something I did on my purple car. And it's funny because back in the day when I did all these things, it was like groundbreaking videos. Oh my God, he installed some vinyl to his car, and it was like, wow, that was state of the art. And these days, if I posted the same thing, people would be like, why are you doing this, dude? So I saved you all the headache of doing all that myself. Didn't film any of that, but it was kind of fun to have those memories and that throwback. Now the exhaust at this point is still stock. I'm sure, knowing me, it won't stay stock forever, but at the moment it is. And then moving on to the trunk, I got a couple funny things I'll show you here. LED interior lights from Diode Dynamics as well, so that's all throughout the interior. And here is the good old window sticker. So let's move this out a little and let's take a look at what this window sticker entails. So obviously 2022 Charger Scat Pack Widebody. It was built for me, so I did order this car. I think it took about, I want to say 3 or 4 months for it to show up. It was actually a pretty easy process. So shout out to the guys over at AutoNation, Spring, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, Chrysler. Appreciate you guys. Now diving into the window sticker itself, the options that I have picked, obviously F8 green, the wide body package. Moving over here to the additional things, we have the Plus package, which is leather and suede, heated and cooled seats, all that fun stuff. I did do the driver convenience group, which is the HID headlights, and the Harman Kardon audio group, which I'll talk about that when we get into the interior. But you may notice total price $61,210. My goodness, that is a Dodge Charger that has gotten very, very expensive. And keep in mind, this is not a Hellcat. Fun fact, my Hellcat and this car I bought for nearly the same price. So my oh my, what a few years have done to the car market. But underneath this window sticker, I also have my Corvette window sticker. My 2021 mid-engine Corvette had a MSRP of $61,585. So $61,500 and $61,200. Would you look at that? A mid-engine sports car is this almost the same price as a Dodge Charger, which blows my mind, but ta-da. Now you may be asking yourself, Riley, why on earth would you buy another Charger? You've already had 2 of these things, and you've already had a Challenger. Why don't you get something different? Well, that's a very good point. I almost did get something different. I'll talk about that in a minute. But the big reason I had to get a Charger was for that guy right there. I got a little one. I need a back seat for a car seat. So the Charger works, however, it barely works. As you can see, it's not the most comfortable thing for a passenger to sit in the car now, and up there in the front seat, I'll show you there's not much room, but that was the big reason why I need 4 doors. I had a truck. I just got bored of having a truck, honestly. This is a little bit more fun. Still a big car. It's still comfortable and has all the features that I'd like to have in a car. But aside from that, the rest of the interior is almost unchanged. I did do a few little things here. So I made the steering wheel say SRT. There's a little carbon fiber ring around it. And then if we kind of scoot in a little bit farther, you can see that the inside has carbon fiber inlays. Hopefully you can get a good view. I'll have to switch to my other camera, show it off a little bit better. But I mean, it's the same interior that they came out with back in 2015. It's pretty wild that they're still selling this car, and they're still selling like hotcakes. As a matter of fact, when I bought this car, pretty much every single one of these things was selling for 5 to 10 grand over the MSRP in at least the area that I am from, which is Houston, Texas. So thankfully, the guys that I worked with, they did give me a discount on the car, but it's just mind-blowing. This car is 7, 8 years old, and it's relatively unchanged, and people are still buying them for over MSRP. All right, switching over to the other camera now, just to get another outside view of how F8 green looks like with a different camera filming it. It's a very wild color. It changes a lot depending on how the light hits it, so super cool. Be sure to follow me on Instagram. I'll post all kinds of cool photos with it. But what this camera allows me to do is show off the interior just a little bit better. So let's go ahead and start it up. All right, so like I said, relatively unchanged from 2015. However, it's still a very comfortable place to be. It kind of has all the features that you'd like to have with the heated and cooled seats, memory seats. I did option the Harman Kardon audio system in the car, so I believe it's like 19 speakers. It's decent. I would probably rate it a 7 out of 10. For whatever reason, I thought the Harman Kardon audio system in my Challenger Hellcat was actually better than this car, but still, it's a decent audio system. It does have all of your, Bluetooth and Apple CarPlay and things like that. However, the CarPlay and Android Auto are not wireless. You actually have to use a cable. Like I mentioned earlier, I did the little carbon fiber accents and the little green dials. I'm still not 100% sold on these green dials here. Come on. There we go. So without them, it's obviously black. I may just take these off and leave it black, but for now I'll leave those there. It's kind of a nice little touch, I suppose. And like I mentioned, SRT, that I actually found on Etsy of all places. So pretty cool little thing there. And then the little ring I found on Amazon, along with pretty much everything else. The last little thing I did, aside from the LED lights, which I talked about earlier, is I did a blend mount. So my radar detector is hardwired in here to the mirror. I did that myself, which for anybody that knows me, I don't do electrical work. However, I did that myself, and my goodness, I made it work. So very happy with that. It's super convenient to have that there. It's out of, no dangling cables or anything like that, which has always been an issue in my previous cars. So absolutely love that. But yeah, that is the interior of the Charger, relatively unchanged. So why don't we go ahead and take this thing out for a drive, and let's talk about some of the cars that I almost bought instead of this thing, and some other fun stuff with the Charger. All right, well, just like old times, let's set off in the Charger. Let's talk about, why did I buy this thing? What did I almost buy? So I had a truck before this, bought the truck, thought I was gonna keep the truck. Didn't keep the truck. However, my original car that I had planned to get was something German. So I actually went to a BMW, Audi, and Mercedes dealership, trying to figure out what kind of car that the big ass car seat will fit into. And it's actually more frustrating than I originally thought. So I was gonna get an M3, it was actually my first choice. I was gonna get the new M3 with the 6-speed manual. However, car seat does not fit, or at least my car seat did not fit in the back seat of a 3 Series BMW. So had to cross that off. Then I was thinking about getting the Audi RS5. Once again, car seat doesn't really fit. It kind of works, but not really. So that wasn't going to work either. Mercedes thought about doing a C63. I've been talking about that for a long time. Bi-turbo V8, love those cars. However, back seat, not big enough for a car seat. So then I started thinking about, okay, well, maybe about, ideally I'd love to get a CT5V Blackwing. However, those are like 110 grand. So that was ruled off as well, just because of how expensive they are. What else was there? The BMW M550i, it is sort of like a baby version of the M5. It's got a bi-turbo V8, it's just detuned. That car I still really love. That's something that potentially I may get at some point, but they're just also really expensive. It was going to be like 80, 85 grand, 90 grand for one with decent options. So all the German stuff, especially in this inflated car market that we're in, was just a little bit either too expensive or the pricing was fine, it just was too small. The car itself was too small. So it left me puzzled, and then somehow ended up back in a Charger. But lots of different things went through my mind about different cars to try out, and somehow I ended up back home in a Mopar. But they really are great cars. I know what I'm getting into with one of these. I've had 2 Chargers before, I've had a Challenger, so I'm very familiar with this platform. I know that they're comfortable. I know that they kind of check off most of the boxes. This car in specific, I told you I did the Harman Kardon audio system. Probably wouldn't do that again if I had the option. It's okay, but really the factory Alpine system is not far off from where this is, so I'd probably save the extra $2,000 and not do that if I could do it again. But aside from that, it's exactly, you know, what I was thinking I was gonna get back into. It's this feels right at home, and what they are great cars for is going underneath overpasses and being reckless. Oh no, there's a big old truck with dust everywhere. Sweet. It was actually pretty lame, so I think we'll have to go back and do that again. But like I was saying, I know what I'm getting myself into with one of these because I've had so many of them. So I'll enjoy this for a little while, and then honestly, knowing me, I probably won't keep it for a super long time. We'll get into something different. But for the time being, the market on these cars is still pretty strong. Does everything I need it to do, and F8 green is just such a cool color. I'm excited to photograph it more and just have fun with it. But speaking of having fun with it, let's have some fun with it. Come on, traction control. Performance may be limited. Press one pedal at a time. I want to press both. I'm trying to do a burnout. Oh, okay. They like changed how you operate a lot of this stuff. Like I have the traction control and track, but apparently traction control and track still means it's on, but then when you slide it sideways, it lets you slide sideways. So I don't know what's going on here. I still got to figure out all the settings. Like I said, I've got 1,500 miles on it, and I've honestly been driving it very civilized. But as it breaks in and as I get more comfortable being back in a land yacht, I'll probably start doing more and more wild things with it. So that was anticlimactic. Also, something that's very silly about this car that was not the case with my last one. My last one just had a sport mode button. You can press sport, and if you want to do some spirited driving, boom, you're good. This one, you got to click on drive modes and then go in here and fiddle with all the controls, and it takes forever to get to what you're trying to accomplish. So that's kind of silly. They have drive modes and launch. I don't need a launch button. The launch control in this car is not good anyways, so I don't know why that's even there. But just put back a sport mode button, and I think that would make more sense. And as for the question that I'm sure I'll get probably 100 times is, why didn't you buy a Hellcat, especially after already having a Hellcat? That's pretty much the reason why. I've already had one. I know what it's like, and to me, it's not worth $30,000 more than what this car is. The Hellcat's a fantastic car, but if it was 10 grand, 15 grand more, yeah, I'd probably do it. But for a new Hellcat, especially these days with how crazy the market is, it's not worth, you know, $80,000, $90,000 for a Hellcat. It's a great car, but it's probably a $70,000 car. At least in my eyes, that's where I value it. But yeah, this is plenty. It's still a lot more expensive than it used to be. I mean, my old Scat Pack, I think I bought it for like $45 was the MSRP on that one, and this one, the MSRP has gone up $15,000. So it's just wild how expensive things have got. You do get a few extra, you know, goodies with this car as opposed to that one, but pretty much the same car. It hasn't really changed a whole lot, and they're a whole lot more expensive, and people like me are apparently still buying them. Also, the Scat Pack does make for a slightly better daily driver. The fuel economy is not great by any means, but at least it's better than what the Hellcat was. With a full tank of gas in this car, you're lucky to get 300 miles, which is still not great. So didn't want to have even worse daily driver abilities. Gets me to work, does a little bit of spirited driving, kind of does everything well, so it's good enough for me. All right, well, I came here to finish out this video, and I just got kicked out by security. They said I have 3 minutes, so I guess I'll make this quick. But in closing, overall really enjoying the car. Some of the other nice benefits of that wide body package is the adjustable adaptive suspension, so you can make it stiff or firm, or well, it's the same thing, stiff or soft. So depending on your preference, that has been super nice. One thing I dislike, however, are these Pirelli P0 tires. These are the all seasons. They are absolutely terrible. I hate these tires. They are very wide, so you would think that you'd get some traction, however you do not. So not a fan of those. But really aside from that, it's been a fantastic car so far, even though I just got it. But I hope you guys are looking forward to things to come. And it is, I'm sure, going to be pretty fun to play around with another Mopar again. So thank you guys, as always, for watching the video. Stay tuned to my Instagram, which will be more frequently updated than YouTube, let's be real. But I will do my best to get some more videos and more content out with this thing very soon. Thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy.